So apart from the educational purposes, what is the point of doing an analysis like this? Well, for me it's the same reason I keep a scorecard at a baseball game. Because I'm a huge nerd. No, wait, the other thing. Because it helps you pay closer attention and appreciate all the little things you wouldn't notice otherwise. For example, I never noticed this shot of Applejack swinging a hay bale is actually 2 shots, with the bale acting as a wipe between the two. That's really clever and efficient staging. You get the sensation of this big arcing throw without having to actually change the perspective of the bale. It's just one symbol the whole time. Plus, this throw animation is pretty cool for going by so fast, so while we're here, let's break down this shot. So same as before, I got a flash scene with screen caps on a guide layer. To make things easier to see, I stabilized the shot to take out the camera move. Basically, I went through frame by frame and lined up a landmark, like, say, this line in the dirt, so it stayed still throughout. Thankfully, this is a short shot. Since the wipe is in the way a bit, I'm going to call it 23 frames. I'm guessing a little at the first frame since we can't actually see most of it, but it'll still make the first extreme. The other extreme looks to be at frame 16. After that, the pose just settles back a bit while the tail continues to follow through. It's basically a moving hold. Well, this is a good start. If we were looking at this in storyboard form, these 2 poses would get the point across. Here's something I should have done last time. Let's use the onion skin tool and get a better look at these 2 poses together. Note how the back legs ended up in the same spot as the front legs were at the beginning of the move, and that the hips stayed in the same place. That'll keep things feeling grounded. We need at least one more key to define the motion and show which direction she's turning. Frame 10 looks like the answer. At this point the body's turned around, but the head's held back to give the movement more weight. It gives the feeling that this bale is really heavy. Plus the thrust of the pose helps carry us into the next extreme. The position of this back leg here looks to be an error. Feel free to post that on a wiki page if you'd like, but I'm just going to fix it in my animation. Now we need breakdowns to break up the rather even timing. Here on frame 7 where the back leg suddenly flopped directions may look like another weird error, but it's actually a pretty smart trick. It means the far leg is already planted in its final position, especially since we fixed it on the key, and the near leg has lots of room to swing into place. Frame 7 also holds the head back more so it gains momentum coming into the key. Frame 13 has a similar purpose. By bringing the head down, we'll have more force going up into the key than if it were a straight in-between. With the breakdowns added, we can start to see some nice arcs in the motion. Now it's starting to look like a throw. A few more breakdowns and we'll have the main motion pinned down. On frame 5, things are pretty close to the middle, but you can see it's all pulled backwards a bit to help anticipate the hip swing. Frame 14 moves us up faster and gives us more pop upwards. I also added a few frames to define the settle at this point. It's just a slight move down and back. Now the move's got a little more snap to it. At this point all that's left is basic in-betweens. I added in the hair and eyes, which just follow the head. If we were actually doing this with symbols, it would be there already. And I'm definitely not ignoring the tail this time. It actually plays a big part in accentuating the motion of the spin and making the pose feel more balanced. If I were guessing at the keys, and I am, I'd start at the big changes in shape. If you've ever read the Animator Survival Kit by Richard Williams, you'd know he's a big fan of completely reversing the shape to show flexibility. You can see that the tail is dragging behind the motion of the hips, especially here at frame 12. Also, having the tail go straight rather than continue upwards is a nice touch, especially since the shot is so short. It also makes the tail feel kinda heavy. It'll take a lot of in-betweens to feel smooth, but we've already got a nice arc to the motion. So here's the move with the tail finished. And here it all is with the camera move added back in and a rough background. It looks a lot more dynamic now, even without the bale added in. Quite a bit of work for a 1-second shot, but that's just how they do it down on the farm.